Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Sri Lanka.
Freedom is
The smallest African diaspora community in the Indian Ocean is in Sri Lanka. They are descendants of the enslaved Africans brought to the island by the Portuguese in the 17th century. They mainly live in the coastal regions of Trincomalee, Batticaloa and Negombo. The population is steadily dwindling, and today there are less than 300 Afro-Sri Lankans left. Afro-Sri Lankans refer to themselves as Kafir, though this term does not carry the same offensive connotations in Sri Lanka as it does in South Africa. Originally Muslims, over time the Kafir have largely converted to Catholicism and Buddhism. They speak a Creole language mixed with Sinhalese and Tamil. The first African presence in Sri Lanka is attributed to Ethiopians who travelled to Sri Lanka, or Ceylon as it was then known, from as far back as the 5th century and traded in Matota in the northwest. The biggest influx of African migrants came when the Portuguese trafficked enslaved Africans to Sri Lanka as mercenary soldiers to fight against the Ceylonese kings. The Portuguese, the Dutch and the British dominated the slave trade around the Indian Ocean, and they all fought for control of Sri Lanka because of its strategic location between East Africa and East Asia. Africans in Sri Lanka were renowned for their military prowess and continued to be deployed as soldiers up until the 19th century. They also participated in the construction of building military forts. By the mid-19th century, the African population of Sri Lanka had reached a high of 6,000 inhabitants, though this number dramatically decreased. Following the abolition of the Slave Trade Act, which the British Parliament passed in 1807, the Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, Sir Alexander Johnston, arranged for all children born after 1806 to be freed. In that way, the slavery era in Sri Lanka gradually came to an end. According to Sri Lankan law, if an Afro-Sri Lankan marries a member of the Sinhalese ethnic group, they are no longer considered Afro-Sri Lankan. Seeing this as an opportunity to provide a better life for their children, many Afro-Sri Lankans strategically intermarried, causing the steady dilution of the Kafir community. It has also meant that over time, many Sri Lankans of African descent have had their African heritage erased from public records. However, remnants of the Afro-Sri Lankan legacy live on, through music, dance, language and stories passed down verbally through the generations. For example, the traditional dance, the Kafrina Baila, reflects a mixture of African, Portuguese and Sinhalese influences. In September 2017, the Afro-Sri Lankan community celebrated their 500-year presence in Sri Lanka and 200 years since the abolition of slavery. The event was organised by the Ceylon African Society. The Afro-Sri Lankan population decreases with each generation, but there are still small pockets of the community that continue to take pride in their rich and fascinating African heritage.
freedom.